All right, here we are. Star Wars, or Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Sorry about that. Okay, yes, I'm seeing this on Friday the 23rd. Again, it seems Mother Nature decided to dictate when I would see the movie because basically over Christmas and the day after Christmas, we're supposed to get between 1.5 to 2 feet of snow. So, yeah, that pretty much decided when I was going to see the movie. A couple other things, just quickly get out of the way. Yes, I have seen Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Bought this Blu-ray some point in the summer. I want to say it was July, maybe it was August. Quick thoughts on that. It was okay. Not spectacular. It just kind of felt like a reheated Star Wars. And yeah, the Han Solo thing I think was telegraphed a mile away. Anyway, on to Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Obviously, this revolves around the construction of the Death Star, the Rebel plan to get the basically the blueprints for it that gets transmitted to Princess Leia's ship in A New Hope, and everything that revolves there. That being said, while there was a John Williams-esque score with some hints of the John Williams theme, they didn't have that. They did not have the crawl. They didn't begin with the big Star Wars logo or anything like that. It just basically went right into the plot. I think there was one point where it said Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Another thing they did that was kind of weird is they actually labeled the planets throughout all of them. They had like a little screen caption identifying which planet they were on. Right off the bat, there's this kind of opening scene where the main hero, the young woman, whose name is Jyn Erso. I did not get all the names for this, so do bear with me. She is the daughter of Galen Erso, who's played by Mads Mikkelsen. He is basically like a master architect, weapon designer, and he's kind of forced back into the fold of the Empire, even though he just wanted to, he wanted nothing to do with the Empire. He got forced back into it to protect his daughter. His wife actually gets killed by the villain of the piece, or one of the main villains of the piece. A director, and I'm winging this pronunciation because I did not take good notes here. It's Krennic. It might be Krennic, it might be Kralik. I did not, like I said, my notes are not spectacular at that point. And they're also talking, they do have a lot of things in there, like apparently even the Death Star itself is powered by kyber crystals, which are the crystals used to make lightsabers. And I know there's also more to the kyber crystals. If you read, there was a novel called Splinter of the Mind's Eye, I think it was. There's a kyber crystal that plays a key role in there too. Anyway, this movie moves really, really fast because it's like you get the establishment of who Galen and Jyn Erso are. Galen's wife, Jyn's mother, is killed. Galen is basically forced back in. Jyn sort of runs away and hides, and it's then the Forrest Whitaker character, a Saul Gedora. Again, some of the names were not very good in this. They were said so quickly that I couldn't quite pick up on them. I still never found. I still have no idea what Donnie Yen's character is named. For example, I know that he's like he's sort of a kyber crystal monk. He may be a former Jedi too. It seems to hint at that a lot. Anyway, Saul. The Forrest Whitaker character, Saul, I'm just going to call him Saul because that's all I know him as. He basically raises Jyn until she's basically an adult. He sort of leaves her at the age of 16 because he figured out that the people were trying to use her to get to Galen because he was, a major weapons designer, and he actually winds up designing the Death Star. Anyway, at one point, he manages to... But Galen basically does it against his will. He basically realizes that the only way I'm going to bring down the Empire is from within. that's why when he starts designing the Death Star, he designs it with the fall to the exhaust port that you see in Episode 4. He's the one who leaks the information. He leaks it to a Imperial pilot who's trying to defect to the Rebel Alliance, which is in its early stage. Also, at some point, Jin, I'm sorry, I'm bouncing all over the dang walls. Jin, like I said, she's abandoned by Saul at the age of 16. Somehow she gets caught up as a criminal in something. She's in prison. The rebels break her up because they know she is Galen's daughter, even though she changed her name. And as this is happening, this defector pilot arrives with Saul. Saul has become an extremist rebel, so much so the Rebel Alliance really doesn't want anything to do with them. But they find out that he basically has something to do with this new planet-destroying vessel, the Death Star. He has something to do with the battle plans or something. Yeah, he got that information, so they want that information too, and so they want to reform that alliance. The alliance is still on Yavin 4 at this point, which is that's where the climactic battle from Episode 4, A New Hope, is. Also, there's this really cool thing that happens. Grand Moff Tarkin is in this. That's the Peter Cushing character from Episode 4. And it's Peter Cushing. Like, I don't know if it was a CGI or if they just had some guy they made up and then put Peter Cushing's face on it. It was not his voice, I know that, but it was a darn good sound-alike, and that's kind of amazing. I mean, it looked exactly like Peter Cushing. Anyway, the Alliance uses Jin because of her relationship with Saul to basically get to Saul. Saul shows Jin the holographic message from Galen, and Galen explains that there's this exhaust port, but he doesn't say where it is, and unfortunately the message kind of cuts out because the Death Star is actually over the planet that Saul is on, and it blows up a city. It does not blow up the whole planet. It's not completely operational. It's not at full power. It's just enough to blow up this city that's nearby, and it basically destroys everything in this radius. And that is when basically Krennic was in charge, but then Tarkin kind of usurps him. Krennic stops off. He tells Lord Vader, well, Lord Vader's angry because Palpatine is upset that Tarkin used the Death Star, because now the Senate is angry. The Senate has yet to be disbanded at this point. But like I said, the Senate is angry because, hey, you're building something that could destroy a city like that. What's going on here? Why did you do that? And yeah, they weren't supposed to know about the Death Star yet, and Palpatine's like, I never ordered the construction of the Death Star. Palpatine is not in this movie, just in case you were wondering. It's then that the rebels are able to track Galen back to Edu, but they find out that Galen is being held on this planet Edu, and they want to try to get the information to know how to destroy the Death Star. But it's at that point that Krennic also arrives there to talk to Edu, not Edu, Galen, Mads Mikkelsen. And Mads Mikkelsen is, Galen, he basically fesses up that, yes, I'm the one who leaked the information. Krennic kills the other members of Galen's team, but then suddenly the Rebel Alliance attacks, unbeknownst to the other rebels who are there to try to rescue Galen. And Galen is killed in the attack. They sort of... sorry. The rebels... Galen is killed in the blast. Krennic visits Vader. That's where Palpatine basically denies that there was a Death Star. He's trying to play PR. At this point, the rebels kind of group back on Yavin 4. They're talking, and basically the Rebel Alliance is kind of starting to fall apart here. There's some who want to fight. There's some who's like, no, we need to get this plans. Well, we can't get the plans. We don't have the forces to do that. And so Jyn Erso basically forms a small covert ops team with the Donnie Yen character and his friend and the Imperial battle droid, again, whose name escapes me. I think it's SR-78, voiced by Alan Tudyk, and Cassian. I don't remember what. Yeah, like I said, one minor nitpick with all of this. names, again, are just shot out and then not mentioned again for like 20 minutes, and so it's easy to kind of forget where a lot of them are. Anyway, they lead this little covert action team of about, I think it was 100 or so guys. They sneak into Seraph, which is basically the big Empire database is. They figure out that that's where the plans are. Seraph is guarded by a deflector shield. They use an Imperial code to get in there. They get into the main hub. They get found out pretty quickly, but it's at that point other rebels find out about this and they start coming to it. The covert team is called Rogue One, obviously. And they're coming to assist Rogue One. There's this big battle on the outside, and then there's the battle going inside. SR-78 is unfortunately, I'll tell you this right now. Basically, everyone dies. They get the plans. They transmit the plans. The plans then get transmitted to Princess Leia's ship. As that leads off, there's a Carrie Fisher cameo again, but it's Carrie Fisher from A New Hope, not Carrie Fisher today. And they get away, and then that's where it leads into Episode 4. And yeah, I will say this: this was overall. This was way better than Star Wars Episode 7 was. Like I said, I didn't hate Star Wars Episode 7. It felt very reheated to me. And this had a lot of elements from the past Star Wars movies as well, but I think it worked better. It was a lot more action, really intense. It was 2.5 hours, but a lot of stuff happened so fast. Like everything with the background with Galen and Jyn, to Jyn being in prison, to Jyn being picked up by the rebels and broken free, and then Jyn being used to find Saul. That all happened like in the first 15 to 20 minutes of the movie. That's how fastly paced this was, and it's a 2.5 hour movie. Really good. Like I said, my only real qualms again with the names. Some of them were used so quickly that it's just like, what did they say his name was again? I didn't get it. Like I said, I didn't figure out what Donnie Yen's character was named. The friend of Donnie Yen's character, I didn't know what his name was. They didn't really mention it. The Imperial pilot who defects, I can't remember what his name was. But yeah, basically what happens with the planet anyway, on Seraph. The Death Star arrives. It basically says, well, we'll just destroy the database, and that way the plans won't get out. But they manage to transmit the plans, but the Death Star fires in and blows the base up, and yeah, like I said, all of Rogue One is basically killed off. Then the rebels start to try to flee, and then Vader arrives in his destroyer. He boards one ship. One escape vessel manages to get away. It's obviously the Princess Leia ship where that leads to. Sorry. Like I said, way better than Episode 7. Really great pacing throughout all of it. Really good action sequences through the whole thing. The final battle sequence is amazing. They managed to get everything that's going on. They got all the space battle. They had ships that are actually crashing into the defense shield, something you never even saw in like Return of the Jedi even. It's just and the way they take out the deflector shield is they managed to hit several of the Star Destroyers with ion cannons, and then one of them, another ship, basically manages to crash into one of the Star Destroyers, and then like turbocharges, and it knocks one Star Destroyer into another Star Destroyer into the shield generator. Into the gate for the shield generator, and that's what shuts the shields down for them to beam the battle plans out. It's amazing. There's like I said, much better action than Episode 7 had too. Like, wow, this was a great Star Wars film. Does end on a bit of a down note though, but I think that's okay. So overall, I would say, yeah, I'm definitely giving this an A. Probably, maybe best film I saw this year. Yeah, definitely worth the wait, I'll say that. Okay, sorry.
Hey guys. I know this is where I usually delve into the trailers that played before the movie, but unfortunately, I have to make a kind of bittersweet addendum to this. Uh, Quite literally, while I was editing this, actually, I had to download a system update, but that's not related to this at all. News broke that apparently Carrie Fisher, who obviously you know as Princess Leia from Star Wars, suffered a massive heart attack on a flight. Um, as I am recording this, there's no other news other than that her condition is very serious. The doctors say it's quote not good. I I can't really add too much more than that right now. But sort of out of respect to that situation, I'm just gonna edit that portion out where I talked about the trailers. It just doesn't seem appropriate right now. Hopefully, this won't be bad. We've had too many deaths in 2016 already, so see you all next time.